Hey everybody, welcome to another Fundamental Games Spotlight, where we spotlight something in the board game community that I use and enjoy, and I believe others would as well. Today we're talking about the Board Game Design Lab. This is a combination of website, podcast, app, Facebook group, and overall community that's geared towards helping people design great games. If people choose to use the resources in a site and avenue like this, they could make much better games than some of the games that sometimes hit Kickstarter or the market. This really helps finesse and understand some of the hurdles and get advice and such. So this was created by a gentleman named Gabe Barrett, and he is talks to some of the industry's best designers and gets feedback and puts all this together. So 5 things I like about the Board Game Design Lab. First off is this website. So this is part of where it began, just in the Facebook group. But his website has been revamped recently and includes all kinds of information and links that you can go into, including getting t-shirts and paraphernalia. So if I wanted to go in and check out, let's say, 71 ways to become a better game designer, I could go in here and get the PDF for it and learn about that. Or if I wanted to learn, if we go over here to the Learn tab, hopefully my internet works all right for you. We can go in here and we can learn about game design or about getting published. Let's say we want to learn a little bit about Kickstarter. So we click on his Kickstarter tab, and his website gears you towards some information about Kickstarter, gives you some guides, places you can go, some advice you can get. So it's just kind of a one-stop shop for anything you might want to do with game design. And the resources tab as well, if you want to find publishers or if you want to find things about design theory and all that, it's all here embedded in his website. So that's the first thing I like. Second thing I like is that in addition to the website, the other way that the Board Game Design Lab expanded was through the Facebook community. You can see here it has over 9,000 members right now, and many of the people are quite active on here. They share pictures about their accomplishments. Gabe regularly asks on Mondays and Fridays what we're working on or what we've accomplished, and it kind of gives an avenue of self accountability, I guess you could say, and just lots of conversations take place on this site. Now, I know Gabe is kind of navigating towards a different avenue to do this, but I found that over the past 3 years that I've been in the community, this has been an extremely helpful Facebook group just to keep me understanding what's happening, what new games are coming out, watch other people's growth and development. It's been a really cool way to do that. The third thing I like is Gabe's podcast. So Gabe runs a podcast, again, called the Board Game Design Lab. You can find it on any major podcast streaming avenue. We'll just load it up here. I've actually been a guest once upon a time, I think about 1.5 years ago. And what he does is he talks to people who are creating games. He talks to people who are doing marketing for games. He talks to people who publish games. He talks to manufacturers in some aspects and just gets a couple of topics and really dives into them each and every week. Right now, I'm not sure how many episodes he has, but there's been over 1 million listens. And you can just see as I scroll through here some of the great creators that are out there making games and making content for things. So I find that's an extremely helpful avenue, especially if you're a board game designer. There's Isaac Childress. He's the creator of Gloomhaven, so pretty important guest there to have on the show. Lots of other great guests have been on here from small to large. Ben Moyes, well known in the Facebook and board game community. I think he recently joined Chip Theory Games as a marketer. So you can just get some insight into how they feel about board game design and just getting into the hobby. And I think that's an excellent resource that's provided absolutely free by Gabe. He just interviews these people, schedules times, releases content for everybody to learn from. So that's the third thing I like about the Board Game Design Lab. The fourth thing I like is that Gabe introduced an app recently. This was about a month ago, I think he rolled this out. So it's still in its infancy. It's still growing and learning. Basically, it's like Facebook specifically for board game design. And so right now, I think there's over 200 community members, and I'm sure more will come. But in here, there's a general blog you can look at. Where you can just learn about some generic stuff about board game design. There's specific groups that are built into this lab. So about crowdfunding, about learning if a game exists, about marketing, etc. And so each of those has different amounts of members, and you can choose if you want to be part of those or not. And that'll add their content to your feed. There's board game design and training courses that are involved in here. You can learn how to use Nandeck or learn how to do accounting. As exciting as that may seem, it's still something important. You can post jobs for games or projects that you're creating. I think this one is still getting tweaked. There's a calendar and there's a shop. So this is something that Gabe has put a lot of time, energy, and personal finances into to help grow his own brand in the Board Game Design Lab, but also to veer away from Facebook, as Facebook can have some negativity sometimes if certain topics come up, or there can be some social media forced advertising in there as well. Well, his Board Game Design Lab is just pure board game content. So I like that Gabe's designed that. It's available. You can look at it on your mobile device as an app, or you can look at it online as a kind of a independent website type of thing, above and beyond the regular website. So that's the fourth thing I like. And the fifth thing I like is the community and just the overall ambience that Gabe has generated in here. I don't know how many different creators have launched successful Kickstarter campaigns and published their games or fulfilled their games as a result of starting and being encouraged and engaged by the Board Game Design Lab community. Gabe himself has a wealth of knowledge, so this is just his Kickstarter history here, but you can see he made a game called Final Flictier. He made a Board Game Design Lab advice or Board Game Design advice books. There's two of them out there. His board game Hunted has become very popular based on 80s movies and popular TV shows, is what he's working on now. Dungeon Ball. And he also created a design starter kit. So he helped foster the community by proving that he himself has had a lot of success. And then the community in here regularly talks to each other and encourages each other, sometimes through constructive criticism, and sometimes through play testing, or even supporting each other's games on Kickstarter. So it's just really wonderful to see the community that Gabe has fostered and developed. And that's the main reason that I wanted to share and spotlight this particular avenue of the board game community. And this Board Game Design Lab app, I think, has a long way to go, but I think it's a great start into trying something different above and beyond just Facebook and Twitter. So there you have it, the Board Game Design Lab, created and managed by Gabe Barrett and supported by literally 9,000 people on the Facebook group, and a growing number in the app itself. If you're part of this Board Game Design Lab, you've designed a game or you've purchased games that originally started out as a result of what's happened here, please let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear about it. And as always, thank you for watching. Have a great day.